All right, y'all. This prison story is about where a homie from Settlers Grove was prostituting himself to other inmates for commissary. Now, for those that don't know where Settlers Grove is at, Settlers Grove is in Covington, Georgia. Do y'all remember when I told y'all that I stayed off and on in Atlanta? Well, I never actually stayed in the city of Atlanta except for when I was maybe 7 to 8 years old, but that was in boy home projects on the west side. But as I got older, from age 16 to 18, I did stay in, from 16 to 20, I stayed in Covington, Georgia. And there's this cul-de-sac that's called Settlers Grove, right? So that's where I stayed at. Now, I'm not going to go through the history and how I met Tarty, how I met Homicide, how I met Rob, everybody, that whole, gang and Crips and Blood thing. I'm not going to go through that all again in this story. We're going to get to where this dude named Terrence Blackwell that I met out there in Covington that I ended up getting locked up with, where he ended up prostituting himself in prison. Now, I'm just giving y'all the backstory. But you know what? For the sake of this story, F it. It's Sunday, it's people out there that's working, and y'all want the long version. So I'm going to give y'all the backstory of Terrence Blackwell, and then I'm going to give y'all the prison story of where he prostituted himself. All right, so for those, like I said, for those that don't know, I did live in Georgia for about 4 years, where I'm not going to tell y'all about Tarty and Homicide and that. I'm going to tell y'all when I met Terrence Blackwell. So this maybe was, maybe a year, maybe about a year, me being there in Settlers Grove or whatever. And I pretty much knew everybody there, right? So the dude, Terrence Blackwell, he was, and y'all got to forgive me because I'm not a gang member. I'm not familiar with gang politics, so I could be saying this wrong, but he was a GD folk. I don't know what that means. A gangster disciple folk or something. I know he kept saying folks up and folks down or something like that, but I know he was GD, and I know he kept saying folks, right? Now, take that how y'all want to take it. I don't know what that means. Y'all can educate me in the comment section because I don't know what that gang stuff is. But anyway, I'm at the corner store, and it's me and my cousin DK, right, aka Donkey Kong. But anyway, we over here at the corner store, and Terrence walked in, right? Who this whole story is about, Terrence Blackwell. He walks in. So when he walked in, he tattooed up. I'm talking about face tattoos, forehead, his eyelids got tats on it. Like, this dude is like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, certified. And when he came in, me and him had like this moment, like we looked at each other, pause, double pause. Not like that, y'all, chill out. So we looked at each other and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, right? So I got my beverages and, me and my cousin bounced out the store. And we started walking to through the trail where the back roads to get back, to the neighborhood or whatever. And so I asked him about it. I said, hey, you knew Buddy that came in the store? And he was like, yeah, that's Terrence. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, he cool, but he kind of like, he a thief though. He a thief. He a bum. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, he from Atlanta, and I think his granny stay out here or something, but we don't F with him like that because, he a thief or whatever. I said, oh, okay. So that's my introduction to Terrence Blackwell. Now, I will run into Terrence around Covington, like at the American Deli. He'll be out there panhandling. I done had a couple of conversations with him out there and talking to him about God and stuff, and the stuff that he was doing in the city of Atlanta and why he out here or whatever. But it was just a little small talk or whatever. So nevertheless, let's fast forward to, so I was 20 at the time when I left Covington and went to Flint, and I got locked up in Michigan. So we gonna fast forward to 6 years later, because this was like right in the middle of my bed when I ran into him. So nevertheless, let's get to prison. So as y'all know, how Donta was programming, me and my homeboys was running a protection scheme. If you was a weak inmate and you felt like you couldn't make it in prison, then you will enlist the services of Donta and his crew, and we'll protect you for a fee. That what came with that, you will have some type of peace of mind that if you get any commissary, any food coming in, you can keep it. Because if you didn't have my protection and you couldn't stand alone, or you weren't a part of an organization, well, then your stuff would get taken, and you would come to me and enlist my services so you could have some type of peace of mind. And you know, we gave you peace of mind that if a booty bandit tried to get at you or try to get on you, you know, we'd make sure that didn't happen. You know, it was many things that my services provided you. But anyway, let's get to it. So Terrence rolled up in there, right? I knew it was him from the jump. You know what I'm talking about? Now, there's a lot of guys that, you know, come to prison with all these tattoos on their faces and their body. But I knew him. I just knew it was him. So when he came in, I said TB, because that's what we used to call him for short. You know, I didn't used to call him. I heard people call him that, you know, short for Terrence Blackwell. I'm like, yo, TB, what up? So he looked, now he got 2 laundry bags, right? But it ain't no food in them. He just got clothes. So I know he had transferred from a different prison or something, right? So he rolled right over there. He's like, hey, what's up, Donta? What's up, man? I said, man, it's good to see you. I said, man, hold on, man. What are you doing here, man? He was like, man, I caught a case in Detroit, man. And, shit, man, I'm here. I said, how much time you got? He was like, man, I got natural life, bro. I said, natural life? He was like, yeah, I killed my baby mama. I said, what? He was like, yeah, but wait, hold on. Let me put my stuff up. We'll talk about it in a minute. So I'm like, all right. So he go to his cell. He put his stuff up, and he come back like 20 minutes later. So he was like, man, how you been, man? When did you leave the A? Right? I was like, shoot, man, I left the A like 5 years ago or whatever. He was like, oh, okay. He was like, ain't you from Flint? Didn't you go to Flint? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, okay. So I said, so what happened? You left off and you said you did your baby mama in. So he was like, all right, so this what happened. He said him and his baby mama broke up, you know, because he kept cheating or whatever. And, you know, they were still sleeping around for months, but then she got a boyfriend, whatever, and you know, she basically told him like, yo, I'm getting serious with this guy now, and we need to stop, you know, messing around. So he said, you know, they stopped messing around or whatever for about a month or two, and one day she called him to tell him like, you know, come pick the kids up, I want to go out to the club or whatever. And the boyfriend is out of town or whatever because he's a truck driver. So he was like, all right, whatever. So he said he'd go over there. And he said when he came in the house to get the kids, she was looking real good because, like I said, she was about to go to the club or whatever. So he was like, you know, he asked her like, man, let me get a little taste, whatever. And she was like, no, man, no, I'm going out. And he was like, man, come on, man. It ain't like we ain't never done it before, man. I got these 2 kids by you, man. Come on, man. Your boyfriend ain't nothing anyway. So she was like, no, man. Plus, I don't want to be open when I go to the club, you know. It was like, man, come on, man. So he said he had a little bit to drink. So he said he was tipsy or whatever. So he said that he got a little aggressive with her and he tried to get some. He tried to, let's just call it what it is. I'm not going to say the R word because, you know, YouTube don't like that word. But to me, what I got, he was trying to take her cookies, right? And she fought him off. So he was like, he just left. He just left the house or whatever, left the kids there, whatever. And she was like, man, come get the kids, man. I want to go to the club or whatever. And he was like, no, man, F that. No, you trying to get some D or whatever. So he said he go home or whatever. He said about 3 days later, the boyfriend got the call on his phone. It was like, yeah, BAN word. You gonna come over here and try to rape my B? I just said it. My fault. You came over here to try to violate my B. When you try to violate my B, it's up. When I see you, it's up. So he was like, man, it's like whatever, man. We can do whatever, right? So he said at this time, he said he got in his feelings because he said that he been with this girl off and on for about 5 or 6 years. And he just really couldn't deal with it. He couldn't deal with her being with somebody else, just to keep it real. And he said, dude called him checking him or whatever. And, he said, I just didn't sit right with him. So he said that he did a little investigation on the guy or whatever, which he should have been did if this dude going to be around your kids. But nevertheless, he did a little investigation on him and he heard that dude was a shooter. And he felt like, hey, if they do run into each other, there's a high chance that dude might try to, get out on him or whatever. So he said that he was talking to his baby mama or whatever, and he was telling her like, hey man, hey, if I see dude out, is up. Ben, I had the kids in the car, is up. So they're just arguing back and forth. So she like, so you gonna shoot my car with my kids in the car? Because dude didn't have his own car. He was driving her car, even though he was a truck driver or whatever. But one of the kids one day was on their tablet and they called their daddy. And he said he had just a little bit to drink or whatever. And he noticed that there was that McDonald's, which was right around the corner from him. So he said that he got in a car, and he said he don't know what possessed him to do this. He just felt real angry or whatever, and he just couldn't control it. So he said he got in the car and he had his gun. And he said that when he drove past the McDonald's, 'cause it was right around the corner, when he drove past the McDonald's, he seen the car. So he said he just whipped in the driveway and pulled on the side of them and rolled down the windows like, yeah, I could have did that to y'all. He said that he don't know because he was drunk. Maybe he was high. He thought that the guy was trying to like reach over the baby mama and shoot at him. He said he wasn't really too sure, but he said F it. So he said he pulled up, then he jumped out the car and he got the bussing. Yeah, that's right, y'all. He said he got the bussing at the car where his 2 kids was in the back seat and his baby mama was in the front seat on the passenger side. So the guy, the boyfriend ended up flooring it and, almost hit him and basically ran out in the middle of the street, drove in the middle of the street and struck a car. Now, the car that he struck was an old white lady, probably about 85, 86 years old. When he hit that white lady, she lost her life on impact. Boom. So Terrence said he jumped in the car and he peel off. Like he just peel off or whatever. He don't know if his kids hit. He don't know if the baby mama got hit. He don't know nothing. So he just go forward and he go back to the house. Now, he said that he go in the house and he's just drinking heavily. He said about 40 minutes to go by and the SWAT team come over there. They ain't have to kick in the door because he was so drunk and messed up and high. He left the front door open. So they just come in there, arrest him, and when he sobered up, they let him know like, hey, you being charged with murder. And he like, for what? He was like, what happened? And they basically told him, the whole situation where, you didn't hit nobody in the car when you were shooting at the car with your baby mama and your kids in. No, you didn't hit nobody, but when he peeled off due to your actions, he hit somebody and killed him, and you're being charged with that. We got it on camera of what you did, that you caused this. And this is how he got natural life, y'all. Now let's get to the prison story that y'all all been waiting on. But before we get there, I need for y'all to do your big partner Dante a favor right quick. First, I need for y'all to hit the like button. Y'all know how we do it, right? Also, hype the video. If you don't see that in the comment section thing to hype it, that's okay. But if you don't see the hype button, hit the like button. And now we're gonna do the question of the day, and then we're gonna get to the prison story. Okay, every time I drop a video, we always do a question of the day. So here's the question of the day. Would you rather have $1 million tax-free, right, or be able to bring back a loved one? It don't even got to be a loved one. It could be a friend, a family member, somebody that you cared about, whatever. And they don't come back as a zombie. They come back as a regular person. Let me know in the comment section. Would you rather have $1 million tax-free or bring back somebody that you care and love about? Put it in the comment section. All right, y'all. Let's get to the prison story. So I'm like, word? He said, yeah, that's what happened. I got natural life. I said, man, that's cold. I said, so how long you been locked down, man? He said, man, shit, I'm in my third year. This my third year. How long you been locked up? I said, shoot, this going on my second year. He was like, oh, okay. So how long you been in this unit? I've been here about 6 months. He was like, so, like, what's up with the unit? Like, is there any gorillas in here? Like, what? And the gorilla is somebody like KB. You know, I done told y'all stories about KB. Matter of fact, KB, I got some KB stories coming up real soon, so y'all stay tuned. But for those that don't know who KB is, I will have the link pinned at the top of the comment section about who was KB. KB was a prison bully, and he was not to be played with. But anyway, so I'm like, nah, ain't really nobody in here like that, man. This pod is kind of chill. You know, you got me and, you know, my crew. We do what we do. You got some bloods up in here. I said, you still bang? He was like, man, you know, I'm folk all day. GD folk all day. I said, okay. I said, he was like, is some G's up here? I said, no, it's just a couple bloods in here, but I mean, they don't really be on nothing. You know, they I don't know. They don't really be on it like that. He was like, oh, okay, bet. I said, now there is a guy in here, named Freaky Freddy. He was like, Freaky Freddy. I said, yeah. I said, he run a store. I'm just letting you know, there's off jump, that if you get anything from him, make sure you pay that man, because he gonna want something back, and what he want back is gonna be something physical. And he was like, oh man, I ain't worried about that, man. If anything, man, I'll take whatever he got and beat his ass. I said, oh, okay. I mean, hey, to each their own, right? Nevertheless, y'all, you know, we dap up, and, you know, he walk off. Now, like I said, y'all, I wasn't real mad tight with this guy back in Georgia. I mean, I seen him off and on. We had a little conversation. So I ain't gonna sit up there and say like we was friends, we was homies, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, I just seen him and knew him in passing. So, yeah. So let's just leave it at that. So anyway, a couple days go by, and you know, just regular prison stuff. You know, hitting the yard, hitting the weight pile, going to the law library. On the real, I don't even really remember seeing him in the next 4-5 days for whatever reason. Because, you know, I had my own operation going, and I had, you know, my business that I needed to tend to or whatever. I was a really busy person. So within this time, I didn't know that he was getting commissary from Freaky Freddy. I had no idea. And one day I ended up going to his cell or whatever. And what was it about? Oh yeah. Well, I ain't gonna tell y'all one part of this story because I'm married now. So, long story short, he ended up asking me, did I remember this girl I used to talk to back there in Covington or whatever? And he said that he found out that they was cousins and she's in the Navy or whatever. And he was trying to see, can I get like a word out there to, let her know that he's in here when in this unit, in this prison, so she can give him some money, whatever, because I guess they lost contact a year or two back at his other prison, whatever. So I said, all right, so that's why I went to his cell. And I noticed that he had like his locker was loaded. I'm talking about stacks of ramen noodles. I'm talking about honey buns, Faygo Cola, Faygo Sprite. I'm talking about orange slice. I mean, he had like a little mini store in there. And I was like, dang, you getting it like that? You getting it like that? He was like, man, yeah, I'm getting it, man. I'm a hustler. So I'm like, all right, bet. I said, shoot, man, you need to let me get some of this. And he was like, nah, man, I know you running the store, you got yours. I said, yeah. I said, but you out here balling, right? Now, remember, y'all, like I said, I didn't talk to this guy every day. I wasn't, me and him wasn't tight. He was just somebody that I knew in passing. So, my curiosity did spike. It did kind of spike because I was wondering, like, he came in here with nothing but his clothes. And then he got all this commissary. And I know even and all the stuff that he got, Freaky Freddy wouldn't even allow for all that to go out like that. So now I'm thinking, like, Stowe Day ain't two enough a week. So I know he ain't went to the store. So I'm like, I'm curious now. I'm like, man, why? How did he get all that? Okay, whatever. All right, y'all, here we go. So another week will go by. Commissary day. And y'all know we had to, fill out these slips or whatever. You remember, I don't know, the age group that be watching me or whatever. Matter of fact, we'll do another poll right quick. Put your age in the comment section or put the year you was born, right? I was born in 88, so I guess I started. But anyway, you remember back in the day when we had to do the tests or whatever, we had to bubble in like the circles. They'd be like A to F or whatever, and just bubble it in. That's how it was for the commissary slips or whatever. So we get the commissary slips, and you can only get $200 worth of items, from the store or whatever. So it's commissary day. I don't see him when they call our unit or whatever. You line up and then they take you out down to the store or whatever. Now, I didn't see him go. I didn't see him go at all, to the store. But as I'm coming back, I got 3 big bags worth of commissary, with cats coming to my door and dropping off, items or whatever, for my business or whatever. So, I'm racked up, what I'm talking about. I'm penitentiary rich. But anyway, I noticed he didn't go. But then I also noticed it was cats coming, giving him items, right? So I'm like, and this guy's from other units too. So I'm like, well, what he got going on? Do he got the pack in? You know what I'm saying? Is he bringing drugs in, or, what is he doing? And in prison, yeah, you supposed to mind your business. But me, how I was programming, I need to know what's going on at all times. I mean, dealing with the nature of my business, I have to make it my business to know who bringing what in, right? Because I might need to get in on that. You feel me? But anyway, I'm seeing like, random cats, coming to the door and handing him off this, handing him off that. And I'm like, he got to be bringing a bag in. So about an hour go by after everything settled down, I rolled up in this cell. I said, hey, man, let me holler at you right quick. I said, man, what you got going on, man? What you got going on? He was like, what you mean? I said, shoot, I mean, you out here like you King Tut or something, like you the Pharaoh of Egypt, and people coming over here paying you tribute. Like, well, what's up with that? What you got going on? He was like, oh man, shoot, I be hustling. I'm a hustler. I said, I can see that, but like, what you hustling? He was like, oh shit, I'm hustling ass. I said, what? He was like, I'm hustling ass. I said, wait a minute. I said, what, you got a couple of boys or something? I don't ever see you with, no sissies, nothing. He said, no, man, I hustle my own ass. I said, what? He was like, yeah, man, you didn't know? That's what I do. I'm a prostitute. I said, you a prostitute? He was like, yeah, man, that's our hustle. I was doing that in the street too, man. I said, what? He was like, yeah, that's what I do. You didn't know that? I said, no, I didn't know that. He was like, yeah, man, that's what I do, man. I'm gonna make sure I stay straight. I'm gonna make sure I'm good, for real. And I said, oh, damn. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my movie and my gaming channel. I'm going to have that link pinned at the top of the comment section. Also, y'all subscribe to Stacy's Storytime. She's tell phenomenal stories just like myself. And if y'all feeling generous, make sure y'all leave me a tip. I'm accepting Cash App, Zelle, and PayPal. Until next time, y'all take care. I'm gone.